All right, let's unpack something truly fascinating today. We're taking a deep dive into Peter Carroll's Gnostic Pentagram ritual, the GPR. Now, this isn't just, another look at old traditions. This is about a radically modern, pretty adaptable way to focus your intent, your personal power. It's impactful and, frankly, a bit of a mind bender in a good way.
Absolutely. And to guide this deep dive, we've pulled together some really core sources. We've drawn from Billy Bruchot's YouTube video 031 JORP, which
Yeah.
is quite interesting. Also a really useful comparison document called GPR versus LBRP.pdf. And crucially, Peter Carroll's own writing, the Gnostic Pentagram Ritual.pdf, which comes straight from his book Labor Null. And we also looked at Gnostic Pentagram Ritual Variations.pdf. So quite a bit to draw on.
Yeah, solid material. So our mission for you listening in is to really pin down what the GPR actually is. How does it connect or maybe disconnect from more, let's say, traditional magic? And why is it seen as such a potent, flexible tool, especially when we talk about its psychological applications? That seems
It's
key.
definitely key.
Okay, so let's start with the man himself, Peter Carroll. He really was a bit of a rebel figure in modern magic, wasn't he?
Oh, absolutely. Rebel's a good word. Carroll kind of burst onto the scene with this deep conviction. He felt he understood the essence of magic in a really unique way. And that conviction led him to help create chaos magic, which, you know, really shook things up.
Right.
But it wasn't entirely out of nowhere. Chaos magic draws on different things, like that sort of punk rock attitude inspired by Austin Spare.
Ah, spare.
Yeah, breaking rules, focusing on individual power, that whole anti-authoritarian streak, that's definitely in there.
That makes sense. But it's interesting, Carroll didn't just chuck out all the old rituals. He seemed to appreciate the more structured, almost that like evil wizard aesthetic you might associate with someone like Crowley. But his goal wasn't just replication. It was more like he wanted to strip them down, find their core engine,
Oh.
and make something intensely practical, potent.
Exactly. Practical and potent. That drive for, let's call it distilled utility. That's what led him straight to developing the GPR. It's an extremely streamlined, almost minimalist take on the classic lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram, the LBRP.
Right, the LBRP.
Yeah. So think of the GPR as this radically stripped down, almost psychotech-style alternative designed for modern use. He talks a lot about this in Libernal and Psychonaut.
Okay, psychotech. I like that framing. So we got Carroll, chaos magic. Now let's put the GPR head-to-head with the LBRP. They might look different, feel different, but what's the common ground? What are the shared threads?
That's a great starting point because, yeah, despite the big philosophical differences, they do share some basic building block.
Right.
Both rituals work with the four cardinal directions, north, south, east, west. That's foundational.
Okay.
Both involve tracing pentagrams in the air. That symbolic action is there in both. Sound is also critical in both, though how it's used differs dramatically. GPR uses vowels, LBRP uses divine names.
We'll get into that, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. And crucially, strong energetic visualization is absolutely central to both practices. You have to see it, feel it working. So at their core, you could say they're essentially energetic circle casting rituals.
Okay, energetic circle cast.
Right. You might use either for, say, psychic clearing, prepping a space for other work, or just getting yourself into the right headspace. And the pentagram itself is a shared symbol, generally representing, human sovereignty over the elements or bringing order out of chaos. That idea is present in both contexts, though interpreted differently.
Okay, that grounds it nicely. Shared roots, shared symbol, basic structure, but you said they feel different. And this, I think, is where it gets really interesting, the philosophy behind them.
This is exactly it. This is where the GPR really carves out its own space. The differences are fundamental, not just surface level. Let's start with the philosophical underpinning because that drives everything else. The LBRP is, well, it's deeply embedded in Hermetic Kabbalah, that whole Western esoteric system.
Right, the tree of life, all that.
Exactly. It draws heavily on Christian mysticism, ceremonial magic traditions. It basically assumes an objective metaphysical hierarchy exists. And you invoke specific traditional Hebrew names of God He, Vav He, Adonai, Agla, Ahaya, and specific archangels.
Got it. A very established cosmic order.
Precisely. Now, the GPR, coming out of chaos magic, totally different angle. It's rooted in a psychological model. It's fundamentally anti-dogma. It actively rejects fixed belief systems.
Okay, anti-dogma. How does that work in practice?
Well, it sees subjective belief itself as the primary tool. It's anti-essentialist. It doesn't assume there are fixed inherent truths out there. Instead of invoking those specific divine names, the GPR uses primal vowel sounds, I-E-O-U.
The vowels.
Yes. As universal energy tones. It's
Yeah.
explicitly pushing back against, imposed religious ideas from outside. The focus shifts to what Carroll termed Gnostic-style personal gnosis,
Gnosis means.
meaning direct personal insight or knowing, often experienced in an altered state. It's triggered by these psycho-spiritual techniques, resonance, psychological triggers. So Carroll basically reframed magic away from appealing to external gods toward an internal psychological technology.
That's huge. It sounds like it makes magic much more accessible.
Yes.
Individual.
Exactly. A radical democratization, in a way. Your own mind becomes the engine.
So how does that massive philosophical difference actually play out in the ritual itself, in the structure?
Oh, it plays out dramatically. Take the LBRP structure. It
Yeah.
includes the Kabbalistic cross at the start and end.
Yeah.
You trace the 4 pentagrams at the cardinal points. You vibrate those specific divine names. You call on archangels Raphael, Gabriel, Michael, Uriel. It's quite elaborate, very symbolic within its own system.
Right. Very specific figures and names.
Very specific. Now, the GPR, Carroll's version, it's a different animal. You start standing centered, feet apart, arms out like a star shape. Your body is the initial symbol. Then you vibrate those vowel mantras, I, E, A, O, U, focusing the energy, the vibration, into specific areas of your body. After that internal charging, you face each quarter, north, east, south, west, and you project what he calls pentagrams of force outward.
Pentagrams of force.
Yeah. And while drawing each one, you vibrate the vowels again, I, E, A, O, U, or, and this is key for chaos magic, you can use your own chosen god name or words of power. It's customizable.
Adaptability again.
Exactly. Then, after the 4 quarters, you draw an energy circle around yourself, connect the points, and you finish by anchoring it all back inside yourself, visualizing your body glowing, maybe like a star or a pentagram itself. Notice. No Hebrew, no angels explicitly mentioned. It's raw, energetic intention. Symbolic action designed for direct psychological impact.
Wow. Stripped down is right. Sounds much more visceral, internally focused.
Visceral is a good word. Very much about internal mechanics and subjective experience.
Which leads us right to the goals. How do the aims of doing an LBRP versus a GPR differ?
Yeah, the goals diverge pretty significantly, following from the philosophy. The LBRP is often used, traditionally, for banishing unwanted influences, energies, thought forms, for protection.
Clearing the space.
Clearing the space, exactly. Sometimes for initiation rites or creating a sacred space defined by that divine cosmic order we talked about, clearing and protecting within a known framework.
Okay. And the GPR?
The GPR's goals are much more internal, transformative. It aims to directly charge your nervous system, to alter your reality tunnel.
Okay, reality tunnel. Unpack that a bit.
It's a term from Robert Anton Wilson and Timothy Leary, popular in chaos magic circles. It basically means your unique filter, your personal perception bubble through which you experience and interpret everything.
Got it, your subjective world.
Exactly. So the GPR is about energizing you, inducing gnosis, shifting your beliefs directly. It's rooted in that subjective sovereignty idea from chaos magic.
The idea that you're in charge of your inner reality.
Precisely. So it functions as a tool for psychological transformation, aiming for altered consciousness, mental clarity, focused will. It's about actively re-engineering your own perception, making you the ultimate authority in your experience.
That's a powerful concept. What about the pentagram symbol itself? It's central to both. Does it mean the same thing in both rituals?
Excellent question. Same symbol, but you guessed it, a different spin reflecting the philosophies. In the LBRP, the pentagram often symbolizes mastering the elements, divine harmony, protection. The archangels act as guardians at the points. There's an emphasis often on spiritual purity within that divine order.
Harmony and protection,
Yeah.
okay.
In the GPR, Carroll frames the pentagram more as symbolizing human consciousness actively ordering chaos. It's much more active, more about your agency.
Consciousness imposing order.
Exactly. No archangels are called upon, but Carroll does talk about the potential for self-generated egregores.
So Grigor.
Yeah, basically potent thought forms. Collective mental constructs given energy and focus until they almost take on a life of their own, created through your intent. So the emphasis in the GPR pentagram is squarely on your conscious intent and your belief used as a weapon, as a tool.
Belief as a tool again.
Always. And as we said, it's non-theistic. It doesn't require belief in external gods. It's adaptable. The ritual itself is designed to make the belief real for you in that moment. It fits perfectly with that famous chaos magic maxim. Nothing is true. Everything is permitted.
Right.
It's about the power you build and direct internally.
That really is a radical departure, putting the individual subjective experience right at the forefront. So, okay, if it's all about my belief, my internal state, how do I actually do this Gnostic pentagram ritual? Let's get practical. What does it look like, feel like?
All right, let's walk through the practical steps based on Carol's description. It starts with phase 1, body visualization and vowel vibration. Think of it like a modified middle pillar exercise. You begin by visualizing radiance, light, energy, whatever works for you in 5 specific spots in your body. And you enhance this visualization by vibrating one of those key vowel sounds, I, E, A, O, U.
The vowels again.
Yep. Each sound is paired with a specific body area, and you're meant to vibrate them loudly. Sustain the sound through a slow out breath. The goal is to actually feel a physical sensation, a resonance in that part of your body. Carol calls it playing the body like a musical instrument.
Playing the body. I like that image. Very direct.
It is. Now, these body areas, they roughly align with traditional chakra points. But the focus here isn't on complex chakra theory. It's on creating strong psychic images for greater psychosomatic control, that direct mind-body link.
Okay, so what's the sequence?
The sequence goes like this. First is I. You vibrate it as a high-pitched E sound. Visualize bright light radiance in your head.
Got it.
Then E, a lower-pitched A sound. Feel the resonance in your throat area.
E-throat.
Next, a deep ah sound. Visualize in your heart and lungs, maybe spreading out into your arms and legs, filling the torso.
A heart, lungs.
Then O. Focus this O sound in your belly area, grounding.
Oh, belly.
And finally, U, a very deep ooh sound. Visualize it down in the genital or pelvic area, rooting you.
U, pelvis root. Okay, I-E-A-O-U, down the body.
Exactly. You focus intently on each sound and visualization, feeling the vibration. Then, importantly, you repeat the sequence backwards, U-O-A-E-I.
Back up. Why backwards?
To draw the energy back up, circulate it, integrate it fully so it's down and then up.
Okay, forwards and back. Building that internal energy column. What's phase 2?
Phase 2 gets more dynamic. This is where you trace the pentagrams. You trace them in the air at the 4 cardinal directions around you, starting usually in the east or whichever direction feels right. And you use your left arm for tracing. Carol specifies the left.
Left arm. Interesting.
Yeah. And the visualization here is critical. You need to strongly visualize these pentagrams. See them blazing in the air, drawn with pure energy. The vividness matters. After you trace each pentagram, you make a counterclockwise quarter turn to face the next direction.
Draw, turn counterclockwise, draw, turn.
Okay, right. Until you've done all 4 and you're back facing your starting direction. And here's the other key part. While you draw each pentagram, you loudly intone all 5 vowel sounds, I-E-A-O-U, all together in one single long out-breath.
All 5 vowels for each pentagram. How does that work with drawing it?
You basically aim to draw 1 bar or point of the pentagram for each vowel sound as you exhale that long I-E-A-O-U sequence.
Ah, okay. So the sound and the drawing are synchronized.
Exactly. And Carol notes this mantra, I-E-A-O-U, also serves the practical purpose. It helps block out distracting thoughts. It's a mental focus technique built right in.
Clever. A built-in mental anchor. Keeps the mind focused.
It really is. So that's phase 2, tracing the pentagrams with the vowels.
And phase 3, how do you wrap it up?
Phase 3 is essentially anchoring and sealing. You repeat the opening body visualization sequence again. So you do the I-E-A-O-U, down the body visualization, feeling the resonance, and then you do the U-O-A-E-I sequence back up the body.
The same as the start.
The same as the start. It seals in the energy you've raised and directed during the pentagram tracing, makes it stable within you, and Carol does mention its adaptability. You can elaborate on it. Add specific colors to the lights in your body visualization, or visualize pentagrams above your head and below your feet too, creating a whole sphere of energy around you. It's designed to be flexible.
Makes sense for chaos magic.
Absolutely. Oh, and the name, Gnostic Pentagram Ritual. He mentions it's partly a nod to some ancient magical schools that used IAO, essentially IAO, as a powerful name or formula representing the universe's magical force. So it connects to that idea of direct personal knowing gnosis.
IAO. Interesting connection.
So summing up the core techniques, it's mantra vibration, strong visualization, specific gestures, and controlled breath. Sounds very deliberate, very focused on those internal mechanics.
It really does. Which brings us back, I think, to the big practical question for anyone listening. Why would someone choose to use this GPR? What's it actually for in, everyday life or practice?
That really is the crucial question, isn't it? And the answer is it's surprisingly versatile. On a general level, you can use the GPR just to find balance, maybe sharpen your concentration before doing some focused work, or cultivate a stronger sense of personal control and centeredness. Think of it like a quick psychic tune-up.
A psychic tune-up. I like that.
Yeah, maybe before or after something demanding, like a stressful meeting or a difficult conversation, just to recenter yourself. It's also just good general visualization practice, a way to energize yourself or consciously shift your mental state if you're feeling scattered or sluggish.
Okay, so general well-being, focus, energy. What about the banishing aspect we see in the LBRP? Does the GPR do that?
It can, yes. It can be used for clearing. Carol talks about it as a kind of preliminary exorcism. Now, we're not talking Hollywood movie exorcisms.
Yeah, no spinning heads.
Definitely not. It's more about clearing out unwanted mental noise, persistent negative thought patterns, general psychic clutter. Think of it as a form of mental hygiene, sweeping out the mental cobwebs.
Mental hygiene. Yeah, that makes sense. A spring cleaning for the mind?
Precisely. And then perhaps the application that really catches the ear for many people is its use as an aid to self-healing.
Self-healing. Okay, that definitely stands out. How does that work within the GPR framework?
Well, the technique described in the thesis is pretty direct. If you have a specific area in your body where you're experiencing, say, pain or some kind of issue, you first identify which vowel sound and its corresponding body visualization aligns with that area.
So head is I, throat is E, chest limbs A, belly O, pelvis U.
Right? Exactly. You pinpoint the relevant sound zone. Then you would continuously intone just that specific vowel sound associated with the area. While doing that, you strongly visualize the radiance, the healing energy, intensely focused right in that affected part. You'd keep this up for, say, 5 to 10 minutes, or maybe as long as you can hold really clear, focused concentration on the sound and the light in that spot.
So you're directing that focused sound, that visualized light energy, right to the place that needs attention, almost like a targeted internal energy massage.
That's a great way to put it. It's a very focused application of the ritual's core mechanics, sound, visualization, intention, directed towards achieving a tangible psychosomatic effect on your physical well-being. It truly embodies that idea Carol mentioned, playing the body like an instrument for a specific desired result.
Fascinating. So we've covered the standard GPR pretty thoroughly. Did the sources mention any specific variations, ways people adapt it?
Yes, absolutely. The adaptability is key. The version we've mostly detailed, the middle pillar sequence, then the 4 pentagrams, then the middle pillar, again, that's often considered the classic or standard GPR.
Okay.
But the sources also discuss something called the Gnostic Chaos Sphere Ritual, or GCR, specifically version 1.8.
Chaos sphere, not pentagrams.
Exactly. It starts with the same kind of middle pillar process, and you can even add things like visualizing sigils at each energy center during this part. But then, instead of tracing pentagrams at the cardinal points, you draw chaos spheres, usually at 8 directions, not just 4.
8 directions.
Yeah.
Like the points of a chaos star.
Precisely. And in the GCR, the vowel use is slightly different too. 4 vowels are sung as the 4 lines of the chaos sphere symbol are drawn. Then the last vowel, U, is intoned as a circle is drawn in the center where the lines of the chaos sphere intersect.
Okay, different geometry and sound pattern.
Right. And version 1.8 of the GCR actually omits the final middle pillar sequence. This makes it work well as a preparatory rite if you're about to do some other magical working immediately after.
So it opens the space but doesn't close it down again.
Exactly. But then there's version 1.8.1, which does include that final pillar sequence. So that makes the GCR 1.8.1 a self-contained, complete process, just like the standard GPR.
Interesting variations. It really highlights the flexibility.
It does. And it reinforces that benefit of using vowel sounds. They generally have fewer overt cultural or religious associations than, say, specific Hebrew names of God or angels or elementals from the LBRP. This makes the vowel technique a kind of general-purpose sonic tool. You can slot it easily into various belief systems or paradigms, or use it entirely psychologically.
Makes sense.
Of course, turning these mechanics into genuinely effective magical work, as Carol would stress, requires real concentration, vivid imagination, consistent practice, and also, importantly, a spirit of playful experimentation.
Practice and play.
Yeah. And one last interesting note from the text they mention, that group practice with everyone singing or vibrating these sounds together, maybe even moving into more unstructured, barbaric blather, can lead to some fascinating effects. Things like emergent overtones, harmonics in the sound, potentially group brainwave entrainment, and those groovy mirror neuron effects where people start syncing up.
Group resonance.
Yeah,
Wow.
adds another layer entirely.
It's really remarkable how Carroll took these, foundational magical elements and just completely reimagined them, created something so adaptable, so deeply personal. We've really charted a fascinating course today from Peter Carroll, this rebel figure and the whole ethos of chaos magic, through the nitty-gritty mechanics and the really radical philosophy behind his Gnostic pentagram ritual. We've seen how it stands in stark contrast to the older LBRP, especially with its intense focus on psychological change and harnessing internal power. It really does paint a picture of a tool designed for deep personal transformation, doesn't it?
It absolutely is designed for that. It's all about transformation from the inside out. And maybe as we wrap up, here's a final, maybe provocative thought for you, the listener, to sort of chew on. How might the GPR's core idea, this idea that your subjective belief, your focused intention, using specific psychological triggers like sound and visualization, how might that challenge your own understanding of what's real or what's possible, especially when you think beyond the more traditional frameworks, the sort of default settings we usually operate within? It really invites you to consider the immense power that could be potentially waiting right there inside your own mind, just ready to be directed, ready to be unleashed.